Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramon, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so thrilled to have you join us today. This podcast is dedicated to exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose, serving others, and yes, achieving success. We believe that when we approach our work and our lives with a servant's heart, you can truly make a difference. We created this show because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated so you can make an impact in your world. Whether you're an entrepreneur, community leader, highly successful business person, or simply someone looking to add more purpose to your life, this podcast is here to support you. And my guest has a project that's going to blow you guys away. I love this guy. We're like a brother from another mother. Please take a piece of paper and a pen and write down some notes and listen to this podcast. And do me a favor, respond on YouTube or the podcast. Give us comments because he'd love to hear back your feedback from this show. And while you're listening to the show, think about how you're going to serve today and what impact you'll create today. And I want to thank my today's sponsor, Pantheon Alliance. Imagine your business involved in a community of elite business owners who are making a high income and are successful, but sharing their network with you. Imagine the heist you'll make with your business network with these type of people. If you have any questions about Pantheon Alliance, please reach out to me and I'll get you connected and show you the way. With that being said, impact. Impact comes in many forms. What I found with my guest today is he's dropped everything in his corporate world. He still does some of it, but he went to his passion. And we all should be working passion and desire. So wait till you hear about this guest and what he's going to tell us. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and I'm excited to share with your audience today.
Thank you. Passion and philanthropic opportunities and projects. How's that combined?
Well, if you love what you do and you're intentional about what you're doing, it's real easy to drive the passion because you know you're making a difference. And it's that getting out of bed every morning. Do you jump out of bed or do you hit that snooze alarm? And I'm in the time in my life, I'm jumping out of bed. I can't wait to take on the day because of the opportunities I have, what we're doing in helping others, which I'll share in a moment. But that's where the passion comes. And if you're living with passion, it's infectious. And people want to be a part of that. And it just grows and grows.
Is that help you get past your corporate? You're in the sales, you're in a sales company, and you're kind of weaning away from that. Is that what helps you leave that to go into this?
Yes, absolutely. I was in corporate America for 36 years, vice president of sales. My backstory very quickly is mostly in medical, healthcare, distribution, SaaS software, medical devices. I had to take a year off because of stress. I was passing out on airplanes. I couldn't feel my hands. I literally took a year off, and I was blessed that we had saved for the rainy day. And after that experience, I realized I had gotten so into the company and so into doing everything correctly, I'd lost focus of what was important. And I said from that day forward, when I actually went back after a year, raised my hand and said, I'm ready to get back in the game, coach, got another job. I said, I would never let that happen to me again. And as I spent another 4 or 5 years in the corporate world, when I was managing people, people would come to me and complain. And I would say, well, then leave. If it's that stressful, leave. And they'd look at me like, what? Because your manager, your employer is not supposed to tell you that. They're supposed to coddle you and it's going to be okay. No, it's just a job. In fact, I had that on a yellow sticky at one point as I was coming through that. It's just a job, but sometimes we lose focus on that. So I, 4 years ago, started my own consulting business, consulting small to mid-sized companies up to 30 million for grow their sales revenue. But what really during this time, this last 10 years, I was looking to how to create a life of significance. I read a book by Bob Buford called Halftime. It's what you do in the second half of your life. You know, the 20s and your 30s, you're doing this, the 40s, kids are going to college, the 50s, and I'm 63 now. And so you start looking at, and I was really, really looking and trying to discover what can I do to make a life of significance. And we'd always served, we'd always give. We're those types of people. You know, if you go to church, a new church, and pretty soon you're running the Bible study, you're running this group, or you take your kids to the YMCA and pretty soon you're coaching. We've always been those type of people. But we had an opportunity, Steve, to go to Kenya in 2018. Africa wasn't even on our bucket list. It just didn't, I don't know. It's just crazy because once you hear my story, you're going to say it's even more crazy. But it just wasn't something that we said. So we went in 2018 and we thought it'd be a one and done. We'd take a lot of pictures, it'd be exciting. And my wife and I would, hey, there's animals without cages and how cool is that? But because of the group we went with, we got to go through see some dynamic things. And we got to go, they sponsor the safari camp. They sponsor a school and they also sponsor a medical clinic. So we went to the school, which is very touching. Then we went over to the medical clinic, which is a cinder block building with 2 rooms. They have a physician assistant there and basically nothing else. A couple tables, hardly any supplies. And it's amazing what they can do to survive out of that clinic. I walk out of the clinic and Derek, the guide, is standing in the doorway. And I asked Derek, I said, Derek, do they ever bring dental teams through here? And the reason I said dental is my wife is a dental hygienist. She's been practicing for dental hygiene for 40 years. And he says, no, they don't. And let me digress. The area we go to is with the Maasai people. The Maasai people they're an indigenous tribe in that area. They make $1,000 a year. And if you've seen them, they're the colorful people. They used to be warriors. They jump. They're the jumpers. And I asked one time my friend who's a Maasai, I said, why do you jump? He goes, well, the one who jumps the highest gets the prettiest girl, which is a fun joke. But so that's who we were surrounded by. And the Maasai, out of 52 million people in Kenya, because that's where we went, the Maasai only have 1 million people. But they're probably the most well-known of the tribes in Kenya. And so when I asked Derek the question, he said, no, they bring medical teams through here, but they don't bring dental. And he goes, I've got a cavity right here. Because if they don't need it dental, then why bring a dental team? But when I asked that question, Steve, at that moment, God, the Maasai chiefs, Mother Nature spoke to me. And they said, you're bringing a dental team back. So that night, I went back to our tent where my wife and I were staying, and I asked my wife the pivotal question. Because if she says no, it's not going to happen. I can't do the work. I said, honey, I want to bring a dental team back to Kenya. Would you come alongside me? And she said, absolutely. 10 months later, we brought our first team of 8 people. Steve, we didn't know what we were doing, but we brought all our equipment with us. We set up in a tent. In the first year, we saw 191 patients. And our goal was to take 1 person out of pain. And we far accomplished that. We've gone 4 years now. Those 4 years, we just got back in March. In March, we saw 291 patients, extracted 203 teeth, did 1,069 procedures, and 69% of everybody we saw was in pain. So we did this in 4 days. 4 days. It is the teams that we take, the people that we take. It's a tremendous experience. And That's being intentional. That's listening. I often talk, and when I do speak, people will say, well, Jim, we can't get up and just go to Africa and help people. And I say, you're missing the point. The point is, if you see a need, if you see something that needs help, then you need to put yourself into it, and you need to be intentional, and you need to serve. And that serving can look like taking the garbage cans in from your neighbor on a rainy day, your elderly neighbor, having an ear to listen when somebody has an issue, giving $20 to somebody that you really know needs $20. I'm not saying just panhandle everybody, but sometimes you just feel like this person needs an extra 20. And it's weird what happens. But when you're intentionally looking at that, it really, really creates a huge difference. And the other thing, Steve, that has been tremendous for us, not only the people that we treat in Kenya, which many of them have become like our family now because we go, but it's the people that come with us. And then they come back, and they're not the same. That experience is life-changing. So we've gone so full circle. In March this coming year, we're taking 2 more teams, 2 different. We usually just take one. We're taking 2 teams, going to 2 different places in Kenya. It's still sponsored by the Safari Camp. It's Saruni Base Camp. They're a tremendous organization, and they sponsor us. They give us room and board in trade for the work we do and help the community. But we're also in the process of doing capital fundraising to build a clinic. It's one thing for us to go and triage and pop up our clinics and do that, because we don't go into a clinic. We have all this equipment over there, and we set it up in 5 hours. Next morning, we're ready to go. But we're going to build a clinic because we truly feel they need sustainability in dental health and dental education. And I will share this story because I think it's interesting, is you have to have a mindset that we're a global community. One of our first years, I sent out a fundraising letter because we raise all our own money, to go over there each year. And a friend of mine, he sent an email back to me, and he says, Jim, I understand what you're doing, but I think you need to be serving the people in your own community. Why would you go to Africa to serve to go all that far to help people? And I said, I get it, because I used to think that way. And then I said, well, let me have an opportunity to educate this person. There's 13 free dental clinics in the Phoenix area. Mm-hmm. Across the street from where we live, there's a school, and they see 600 kids over a long weekend that for free. There's access. There's plenty of access. Where we go, there's not access. Yeah. And so I believe, we believe in serving locally, nationally, and globally, because once you've traveled and been out and seen, 99% of the people we encounter are wonderful, wonderful people. And they're being impacted. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They're being impacted. And that's the whole thing here, is the impact you're leaving.
Yeah. And it's just terrific. It's a third world country. A lot of corruption, a lot of, that's the way third world countries are. It's a wonderful country with wonderful, terrific people. And they have a new president that's in Kenya that's trying to make a difference. So that's my story as far as our foundation. I have another, I don't want to keep talking. Do you have any questions?
Well, no, I'm just going to say real quick, my comment is, an audience, this is a great lesson. If he never went to Kenya, this never would have happened, and things don't happen. So making a decision to go, and then making a decision to go to your wife, even if she said no, maybe something happens. But what I'm hearing that you've probably done your whole life is make a decision. You'll figure it out later, what you have. That's like you said, the first time you went, you're like, I don't know what the hell we were doing. But now you know how to set up, you know how to go. You've got the system down. Just making that decision. I love it.
First time we went, we were boiling our instruments. We were putting stuff in bleach. Now we have a sterilizer. I mean, we pull all this out of a storage place we have over there. And we're a complete operation, because our philosophy is we want people to feel treated as special as when they go to the dentist in the United States. And as my wife says, these people who most of them have never even been to a dentist have a complete trust to be leaned back in a chair with instruments to get a tooth extracted. I mean, they don't cry. I don't care if you got a 5-year-old little kid. These Maasai are tough and they don't cry. And it's a village. We've had a 10-year-old little boy come in with his herding stick and sits there and gets a tooth extracted because his tooth is so bad. You can't save it. We'll save it if we can, and their parents aren't there. But the whole community lifts up each other there. Can you imagine if I had a 10-year-old son and he came home and said, "Where were you?" I said, "Where were you today?" "Oh, I went down to some dentist and he extracted my tooth." Oh my gosh. I'd be in my car in the front of the dentist's office. And what do you mean you extracted my son's tooth? No, if they bring the school kids and it's just really tremendous how the community all embraces each other.
You build trust.
Exactly. It's trust. And it's almost like a huge, huge family. You talk about community. And what inspires me about these people is the people who have nothing, they don't have the depression, the anxiety, the stress, the road rage. It's a breath of fresh air. Now, do they struggle? Absolutely. They make $1,000 a year, but yet they live life every day, smiles, pleasantries. It just gets your heart. A lot of people say Africa is the heartbeat of life. And when you go over there, it's infectious. Even if you never want to go back, it's still life-changing.
That one time is effective. Talk about your other project. I'm excited to hear about this.
Yeah. My other project is called Magnificent Significance. And that is, it's geared towards business owners, business leaders that are running $1 million to $70 million companies. And it's about serving your employees, your customers, and it's embracing your servant's heart to elevate your business. I have created a program that I spent a year writing. I've got 4 pillars. The stages are the mindset reset, reigniting your passion, manifesting the art of trust, and champion magnificent significance. An example is I deal with a lot of small business owners, mid-sized business. They've lost their passion. They didn't start out not being passionate, but it's hard to run a business every day. My program will help them get back to that passion. How big is your willingness to listen? What's it mean when you serve others? So 16 different sessions, and here's what's going to be fun. I'm taking these people to Kenya on safari. 6 days. We'll go on safaris twice a day to one of the top safari camps in Africa. They have one of the highest lion populations in Africa. 2 years ago, I sat in front of 18 different lions with no fences, no cages. This is where they live, people. And we're going to go and we're going to deep dive into my program. 2 hours a day. We'll go someplace each day out in the savannah. We will go wherever. And it's really amazing because you're sitting there. Oh, there's 50 zebras. Oh, look at those giraffes. I mean, it's just out of body experience. But we'll go through my program, 6 days of safari. They will get to spend time with the Maasai people. And I will tell you, it will be life-changing. And people say, well, why are you going to Africa? A couple reasons. I need to get people out of their comfort zone. I need to get people away from the day-to-day to reflect. I could do my program at the Holiday Inn Express. And then you go home at night. You walk in, your husband or your wife says, the dog ran away, the kids aren't doing their schoolwork, the water heater broke. You think you really have a chance to reflect on that program that we just went through about how you're going to create a life of significance? No, you don't have a chance. When you're going through my program, and then we're out there in safari the next morning, and you're seeing elephants, a herd of elephants walk by, it gives you a chance to reflect on who you want to be. What changes can you make? Are you willing to make? And do you want to make a difference, to make a significance in other people's lives and in your own life? And that's one of the things I talk about in my program is when you serve and you give and you create a life of significance, it comes back to you tenfold. People say, well, you need to be humble. Absolutely, I'm humble. But it's so rewarding to know that you have made a difference. And so this program is going to enable people to really reflect. It's with their spouses. And to understand what's happening, what's going on in my life, and how do I take that, impart that in my employees? How do I take that mindset and treat my clients, my customers like that? You know,
Yeah.
is it all about me, how much money I can make, or is how can I help somebody in their career? How can I help that customer that walks through the door to so they become serve them so they become like, I'm not going to go anyplace else. You're my company. And then the last thing, Steve, is when you come back 18, 20 hours on an airplane and overseas and you've watched all the episodes of Friends, you're going to have a chance then to sit back and reflect of what just happened. Wow, what did I just experience? And it's going to take a few weeks to unpack it, because not only third world country, animals, Maasai, my program, it will be a transformational experience. And I'm the guy that goes every year now, and every year I'm still something new every year. It's magnificent.
Mindset. Yeah, it's a mindset reset. You're using
Yes.
Kenya and this beautiful area and the beautiful animals to reset somebody's mind to go, hey, look what they have. Like you said, they're the happiest people in the world, and they make 1,000 a year. Where you've got employees making 100,000 a year and they're grumbling.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome
Well,
to America. We are so
it,
blessed in this country,
yeah.
and
Oh.
we don't take the time to understand that. You know,
And we do it. Me and you do that. We're servants. We do that. We're human.
yeah.
We lose sight a little bit. That's why you keep going back. The other thing you said was that humble. Somebody said, well, you need to be humble. Every person has a servant's heart is humble, because you have to be humble to be a servant's heart. You're flying 18 hours. I'm sure some of this is coming out of your pocket. I don't want to talk about money, but you're spending, a week there of your life, leaving your family, leaving your work. That's humbleness at its highest level. God will knock on your door when you're humble like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. No,
Tell us a quick story of, have you worked with, we haven't worked with the business yet. You're still launching this. So you haven't
yes.
sent a business over yet.
Right. You're exactly right. The first trip will be 2025, because people have to get their ducks in a row. We've got to have pre-meetings. There's a lot that takes place, because it's not like, oh, let's go on a retreat in downtown Phoenix at the Biltmore Resort and we can get that together really quick. You got to have your, you get you some shots and sort, but it's not hard. And real quick, the other thing is, I was going back to why Africa. A lot of people want to go to Africa. They don't know how to get there, or where to go. It's a big continent. It's like, oh, should we go to the Congo? I don't think so. They're having a civil war this week. It's where you go. We know Kenya. It's become our home. So because of our relationship with that safari camp, as soon as we hit the ground, we're taken care of from start to finish. And you don't have to think. And it's so safe. And we're only in Nairobi for one day, and then we're out to the bush. And once you're out to the bush, it's just fantastic. And the beauty just is overwhelming. So that's people have asked, why Kenya? That's why Kenya. And that's why Africa, because it's on a lot of people's bucket lists. It's just hard to figure out, where do I go?
Yeah. You're a guide. You're a service heart guide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, honest, anybody out there you talk to that talks about Africa, have them reach out to Jim.
Absolutely. I'd love to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. How can they find you?
Well, you can find me on Jim at mag-sig, sig.com. If you want to email me there, if you have any questions, if you're interested in participating, interested in donating to our capital fundraising, we're in the process of raising $600,000. I can build the clinic less than that, but we've already got. We're on the track. We're on the track. Some people, $600,000 is a lot of money. It is to me. Other people, $600,000 is a rounding error. So it just depends on who you talk to and who wants to support it. The other thing is, when we once we build our clinic over the next years, the team that comes over to my Magnificent Significance program on the safari will also go visit the clinic. And so they can see the work that's done and get a feel for the culture. I'm big on cultures. Culture is everything. And
Yes.
that's what I love. I can only see so many waterfalls, so many churches, so many museums, but it's the cultures that matter to me, and how do these people live and survive. For instance, I know a lady who, she can't walk to town anymore to do her beading work. They do, ladies, the mamas bead, and they make bracelets and all, because when she was doing her laundry, a hippopotamus came up and broke her femur.
Oof.
I mean, I don't know a lot of people that have their
Don't.
femur broken by a hippopotamus. And fortunately, she didn't get eaten by the hippopotamus, because they kill more people than any other animal in Africa, which is, they don't eat people. They're not, but they're mean. They're just mean. And
That
so,
big horn
oh,
too.
yeah,
Don't
those
they
are
have
the kind
that
of
big
stories that
horn?
you
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
in the
See, and
experience.
that's the whole thing, is you're giving them experience they could take back to their life and go, that's a
Oh, yeah.
game changer. Well, let's end with some fun, because you're a fun guy. I've got a great question for you. I think I know some of these answers, but you come into a restaurant, you get a table of 4 reserved. You'll sit at one chair. The 3 other chairs that are free, who would you invite, dead or alive? Why would you invite them? And I think most importantly, what food would you order?
And I need to invite 3 people.
3 people, dead or alive.
Well, the easiest one, coming a Christian man, would be Jesus, Gandhi, and Abraham Lincoln.
Wow. What an eclectic group. By the way, Jesus and Lincoln are like this right now on the top of the list. And it's awesome. So the most important question is, what are you going to order for food for everybody?
Well, because I'm selfish, we're having pizza.
Amen. Jesus will try a little pizza, I'm sure.
Yes, if I can order, I mean, come on, how much steak and lobster? I don't care. Let's have pizza. Let's just socialize. Let's make it casual so we can sit back. I'm not so sure Gandhi will eat the meat on the pizza, but that's beside the point. But that would be fun. That's a great question. But I'm glad I had Maria to answer, because luckily I didn't say, I don't know, some rock
I know,
star.
it just gets you thinking. I love the question, because we understand you a little better and a little more and a little deeper. And it's such a fun question to people, especially because people ask me, do you prep people? I said, no, for that response. Like, okay, I got to think about that. And that's such a great thing. That's what conversations are about. Someone will say something in a conversation. You go, Steve, that's Jim, that. Yeah, that's a great question. Same thing here. So, hey, Jim, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on this podcast. Your story is amazing.
Thank you, Steve. It's I appreciate you sharing it. And if I could close with this, be intentional in how you serve others. Look for the opportunities and watch what happens. It's that easy.
It's the audience, take that and run with it, because it'll change your life. Me and Jim were talking before the show. It's changed our lives. I gave him some news about me, and this is happening because of being of service to people. Don't forget my TV show, Together We Serve, every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. And as always, me and Jim want to thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. You all have a great day. Ciao.